Iowa star Caitlin Clark got knocked down during a court storming yesterday, at which point we started debating court stormings once again. I've long been of the opinion that we shouldn't be doing this.
Court storming?
And every time I write about it or talk about it, there are a million people there talking about, fun police and
you're no fun.
Right, you're no fun, and old man yelling at the clouds, that type of stuff. Like, I'm aware enough. I know what the reaction is going to be. But it doesn't make what I say any less true. I talked about it this morning on Jessica's show, and I was sort of glancing at the comments. You got a bunch of dipshits in there making terrible comparisons. Like, okay, sure, you can get hurt in a court storming, but hey, GP, you can get hurt driving a car. Should we not drive cars? I hate it when people do this. They do it with guns and cars, too. Well, the difference is, practically speaking, we need cars. We need to drive cars, right? How'd you get to work today, Bennett?
I drove a car.
See, me too, right? So there's like a practical reason we drive cars. It's not just for fun. It's so that we can get where we're going in an effective and efficient way, right? That's why we drive cars. It ain't just for fun. Why do we run onto a basketball court when the game's over as fans? What is the practical reason that needs to be done?
It's fun.
Okay, so what you're saying is the only reason we're doing this thing that could be dangerous and could cause real injuries to people who aren't storming the court, but just participating in a sports competition, that we should put them at risk just for fun. Well, if you want to make a comparison about cars and roads and stuff, this would be the one to make. What if every day at 5 o'clock, 100 people just ran into the intersection at Poplar and Highland because they thought it was fun and just running around Poplar and Highland intersection?
It wouldn't be the first time, but
it would not be the first time,
yeah.
Right? And they'd probably just walk. They'd probably eventually bust out the windows at Buster's because that's what everybody does over there. And Buster's can't keep them windows in, buddy. Right. It's tough. I saw a gas station over here, by the way. Like right when I get off the interstate at Lamar to come in.
Yeah.
I sort of attack FedEx Forum from the back. Does that make sense? Okay. And there's a gas station they're just redoing, and it's all brick. There's no windows. And I wondered if they did it for crime.
So nobody can bust the windows
Can't
out.
Bust out the windows. We don't have them.
Interesting.
Right?
Yep.
Right? So imagine if every day at 5 o'clock you got 60 people run out in the intersection, Poplar and Highland, just because they thought it was fun. Wouldn't we go, why are you doing that? You're causing problems, possible wrecks, possible injuries. Like, just because you think that's fun doesn't mean you should be allowed to do that. In fact, we have laws against that. They get arrested for doing that. So now let's go back to court storming. Why do we do it?
Listen, I can't sit here and lie to you and say that I wouldn't enjoy if the tables were turned on Sunday and it was unranked Memphis getting a win at home against a top 10 Tulane team. I can't sit here and lie to you and say that I wouldn't enjoy maybe participating in a court storm. That's something that always has looked like a lot of fun to me. Enough
people have told me that it is fun to storm a court that I will accept that as a truth.
Yeah.
All right? It doesn't seem that enjoyable to me because I feel like I'd get out on the court and I'd be like, all right, well, what are we supposed to do now? Is there a bar out here? What are we supposed to do now?
Take a picture.
Y'all want to take a selfie? I wouldn't know what to do.
Well, you want the memory.
I think
you want the memory.
I think after about 45 seconds of being on the court, I'd be like, well, what are we supposed to do now? Like, okay, I jumped around and I high-fived a player, but now what? What's next? What are we supposed to do? So I don't think I would have fun. But I would have fun. But I've heard enough people say they have had fun that I'm not dismissive of that.
I've never gotten a chance because none of my teams that I love have ever done anything. But like that's beside the point.
I hope you get a chance someday.
Thank you.
Okay. Enough people have told me it's fun that I'll believe it's fun. Fine. I'm not even here to argue that. I'm just saying, at what point do we eliminate the possibility for normal people to have fun when it clearly puts other people who aren't there to have fun at risk?
Well, to your point, the Memphis game, when the Tulane fans rushed the court, there is a video going around of a shirtless Tulane fan shoving David Jones in the back.
Okay,
right?
And David Jones is a big man, so he didn't fall down. But what if David Jones was a smaller man and he did fall down? And what if David Jones had a short temper and he got back up? You never know where this stuff's going.
That's what I was going to say, because David Jones, he didn't. He controlled himself. Like, good for him. But, anyone in their right mind would want to turn around and punch that dude in the face. And if David Jones would have turned around and punched that dude in the face, David Jones would be suspended.
Yeah.
And
maybe kicked off the team.
yeah, and that ain't right. Like, and so I do agree with the point, because that fan should have no business putting his hands on David Jones.
Well, David handled that well.
He did,
thankfully.
Yeah.
But you don't know who you're pushing.
Right.
All right. Like, you could walk up to me as a stranger and push me. Like, you see me at a bar and you walk up and you're like, there's that. Walk up and push me. My instincts are not to swing on you. My instincts would be like, yo, what is going on? My instincts would not be to, all right, let's go. My instincts would be like, what just happened? But my instincts would not be, you push me, so now I got to punch you. But some people do have those instincts.
For sure.
That you could walk up to me and push me, and before I start swinging, I'm going to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to start swinging. All right? There are other people, they don't think through anything. You push me, now you got to get punched. All right? So you don't know who's getting pushed. I've just always said, and by the way, it's not that, because sometimes people say, when something bad happens, what are we going to do? Something bad has happened. There is a paralyzed man living in this country right now in a wheelchair because he was hurt during a court storming. All right, bad things have happened. They just haven't happened on CBS. After a big game between two ranked teams, there hasn't been a high-profile incident. But we almost got one yesterday with Caitlin Clark. She's the biggest star in college basketball, men or women.
Yep.
And if she would have been hurt, she got knocked all the way down by a fan. If you see the video, she's running off the court. Court gets stormed. She's running off the court. And fans running onto the court, and it just collides.
Yep.
And she goes straight down. Look, bam.
Yeah.
Okay? So.
Minor flop, but that's okay.
Okay, but
point still stands.
She still got hit
by
somebody who's not supposed to be on the court. And if she would have right there torn an ACL or concussed herself or been out for the year, anything like, we would be having big conversations today about, we got to ban court storming.
No, that's true.
Okay,
Yep.
So this is where it just logically falls apart for me. I don't get why people don't get this. Everybody agrees that when we have a high-profile incident, a big-time player get hurt, a big-time player get involved in a fight, any type of thing that happens in a high-profile way, as soon as that happens, we're gonna end this. Everybody agrees with that.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees that when something really bad happens, then we will end it. And my whole point has always been, if we all agree when something bad happens, we're going to end it, why would we wait for something bad to happen to end it?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you just end it before the bad thing happens if you know you're going to end it when the bad thing does happen? Because you will end it when the bad thing does happen. So why not end it now? And I see people sometimes be like, well, how do you end it? Like, it's impossible. How do you keep people off the court? It's not impossible. It's not even difficult. You could just do it with security, like have a plan in place. Matt Painter at Purdue made this point after they got the court stormed on them at Nebraska earlier this year. He's like, he even stopped short of where I'm at. He was like, listen, court storming, whatever. I'm not here to end it. But we got to be prepared for it. What did you think was going to happen if they beat us? We're ranked number 1 in the country. They're not. If they beat us, Matt said this. He said, do you realize for the past 3 years, every time we've lost a road game, the courts got stormed. Every time. We have never not had the court stormed on us. So when we lose a road game, we know what's happening. Why did they not know what's happening? Why weren't they prepared for it? And then he went on to make the point, when something bad happens, we'll change this. So, like, why don't we change it now? Why do we have to wait for the bad thing? So you could do it with security. You could do it with a plan. Here's always been my plan. Just announce to the world, this is no longer allowed. And that court is not where you're supposed to be. If you buy a ticket, you are a student, you have a seat, stay in it. If you come onto the court, we're not going to try to stop you from getting on the court. I mean, we'll have our normal security, but we ain't setting up a wall. We are just telling you, if you step onto this court, if you're a fan, you'll be arrested. If you're a student, you'll be arrested and expelled. And I've heard some people say that's extreme. Maybe it is, but that's what I want. I want real consequences, because the first time 30 people gets expelled from some school because they stormed a court, that will be the last time it ever happens. You have to not just announce the punishment, but follow through on it. And then you've got the deterrent you need. Once people know I can't get on that court or else I will be arrested, then people will not get on that court anymore. It really is that simple. You just have to draw a line and say, don't cross it. If you do cross it, this is what's going to happen. And if people cross it, make that thing happen, and then everybody else learns the lesson. Mm-hmm. So, thankfully, Caitlin Clark not seriously injured. Thankfully, David Jones not seriously injured. But in terms of high-profile stuff, it's just a matter of time.